Hi, doctor. Are you currently seeing patients with shoulder pain? What about frozen shoulder? What if I could teach you a neurological treatment system in which you could literally take a person from frozen shoulder to a full range of motion in 2 visits? And this system is so powerful that we guarantee results in 2 visits, or we don't accept the patient for care. Hi, I'm Dr. Andy Barlow. I'm a board certified chiropractic neurologist. I also carry a fellowship in functional neurology, and every Wednesday night at 5 p.m., I'm giving a 1-hour seminar free of charge. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help your community. I'm here to help our profession go to the next level. I personally look forward to seeing you every Wednesday night. I want to completely change your life and change your community's life. And I can help you do that because I've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of doctors from Europe to Canada, all the way to New Zealand with these types of health issues. Okay. So I look forward to seeing you Wednesday night at 5 p.m. Central on the webinar. Have a great day. I look forward to seeing you on the internet.
Probably have an old school website, just like this old school Voltron from the 80s. Here's the thing, video websites are dominating the entire internet right now, but only 3% of people have video websites. What is a video website? When there's continual movement. The beautiful thing about continual movement is that when you have movement, it keeps the buyer wanting to stay on the website. Here's the beautiful thing. If you look here at Dr. Mo's website, he is dominating. His website's everywhere. Not only that, but he's omnipresent. It's about time to get you out of the static world websites where they don't move, doesn't do anything for you, but come into the video websites where we dominate Google and get you omnipresent. It's time to step in the future of marketing. Make sure you click on the button at the bottom for a consultation, and we'll get back with you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Anthony with Edge on Regenerative Medicine Show. I am so glad that you are all here, and I have a special guest, a good friend of mine, Dr. Matt DiDuro. I'm excited today because we're going to be talking about something that's not just close to my heart, but I got to say it, close to the president's heart. Sorry, I said it. So here's a cool thing. If you want to find Dr. Matt and doctors out there, I've got a lot of doctors on my page. Check this out. You're going to want to pay attention to this, and you might want to use what we have to talk about today. You can find Dr. Matt at atlpaininstitute.com. Here's the cool thing. He's also a host at Free My Pain Now podcast. Check it out. I love it. Really professional. Has some great doctors and people on there. I love his quote, kindness, my greatest gift, is also my greatest weakness. I love it. Doctor, tell us a little bit about yourself today, because today we're going to be talking about what everyone's talking about, and that is everyone is talking about the stem cell machine.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, I've been a big fan of yours for the last year, and really love what you've been putting together and helping raise the bar for our profession. And so kudos to you for doing that. And there's a lot of talk about this so-called stem cell machine. Hey, I've been a chiropractor 26 years, very grateful. Many people don't know my story or my wife's story, but I was injured in 2006. I had a 350-pound patient fall off the table. I grabbed him, dislocated my right shoulder, tore ligaments in my wrist, had 2 surgeries, out of work for 3 years. I sold my clinics in New York. I had 2 clinics that were pretty awesome, just great corrective care-based type clinics. We moved down back to where my wife grew up here in Marietta, Georgia. I started teaching at Life University from 2007 to 2009. I was a co-director at the functional rehab department at Life University. So I had over $1 million worth of medical tools and devices at my hands. And I had a great co-director, Dr. Joe Haysbrook, who's also a physical therapist. And we did a lot of work on my shoulder. My shoulder's 90%, but my wrist never really, it actually seemed worse after the surgery. So I was in pain for almost 11 years when I came across this device, and it's based out of Woodstock, Georgia. And I went up, it's a lithotripsy based company. So they sold the big units that broke up kidney stones for hospitals. And, recently some of the new generations, they're smaller. It's only 51 pounds. And it's like a third generation. And it's about 1/10 of the strength of the actual hospital grade. So we were hearing about research that was showing this was activating the body's own natural stem cells. And so I went up and, after my brother-in-law and my wife went to school with this guy, John Warlick, great guy, who's the CEO. And I went in, I got my first treatment, and I just couldn't believe the relief I had had. And I was like blown away, like 50.
Was it right away, or did it take 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
Instantaneously, like boom. And he told me the more pain I had during the treatment, the better our clinical outcomes. I had to play in a charity event the next day, a golf event. I played, normally I'd be sore for 2 or 3 days, nothing. I went to the range. I tried to make it sore, nothing. I went back the second week, got another treatment. And at that time I said to John, John, do you have, do you sell these to chiropractors? And he goes, well, chiropractors, this, that, I don't know if they'll do it. So I said, hey, can I get distribution rights for North America for chiropractors? I knew what I wanted to do with this device. So, fast forward 3.5 years later, I'm now the #1 distributor in the United States and one of the top 3 in the world. There's only 520 of these devices in the world. Wow. And about 160 in the United States. And after I work on people, they're always like, why isn't this everywhere? And I'm like, yeah, that's my mission. I want to get the word out on this device. And I'm so grateful, Mark, that you gave me a little platform to talk to some of these doctors and chiropractors.
Well, let's talk about that though. Where did the word stem cell machine come from? Because I know you've been on like Dr. Oz, you've met and been with a lot of these top docs out there. Where'd that come from?
Well, about a year ago, I got a random call or a random note through Facebook from one of the producers from the show The Doctors. So I sent some stuff in, and I kind of filled out somewhat of an application process you go through. And they said, hey, can you, I showed a couple studies that said, hey, this activates the body's natural stem cells within 45 minutes of treatment. And she's like, can you send us some studies? So I partnered with our group out of Germany who assembles this. It's called MTS. Mm-hmm. And they gave me 8 papers that showed how we are activating the body's natural stem cells. Now, 7 of those were animal studies and 1 was human, but we submitted it. And I remember the associate producer and one of the research people there said, hey, why don't you just call this the stem cell machine? This thing's badass. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to call it, but you can.
You can.
so they did nickname, and I'm going to show my little shirt here because it's called the stem cell machine, right? So that they coined that phrase, and we ran with it. And honestly, when you look at it, there's over 25 peer-reviewed papers now that really document that we're activating the body's own natural stem cell production. 25. The Germans, our counterparts over there, it's all about facts, right? They built over the last 15 years the crown jewel of research on this, and it's being used in the rest of the world. And after 9-10 years of being here in the States, it's really starting to catch on and get some traction. So it is considered an orthotripsy because you're working on the joints, and uses heat, light, and electrohydraulically produced sound waves that are coming out of that applicator at 3,355 miles an hour. And that force, it's kind of a shearing force. It doesn't cause any pain around normal tissue, but as soon as you get to a bad area, the patient will say, right there. So it's got this biofeedback component that allows you to dial in right to find that area. And I actually have a patent pending protocol that's going to be, hopefully we're going to get approved this fall, but it basically is, hey, you give us 10 minutes, we're able to detect areas of inflammation, locate the true source of where the pain's coming from, and then we can start the healing process. So we turn down the energy level just a tad, and we start the healing process. This has been shown and to activate connective tissue.
Mhm.
That's the FDA has it cleared as a class 2 device to do that, plus also work with wounds, diabetic ulcers, and burns. I mean, so if it's actually helping regrow skin and things like that, just think what it does with a chiropractor after removing a subluxation or mechanical stress in a joint area. And now you place it on that area, reduce inflammation, help increase blood supply, and you really accelerate the body's natural healing process.
So you're saying it'll help out people with like neuropathy,
Oh, yeah.
joint pain, any type of joint pain, someone that's going to a chiropractor.
Absolutely. I mean, I just wrote an article and said, is this the first Jiffy Lube process to help self-lubricate joints? Yeah. And so, you know, I referenced another research article where they're going in and drilling holes with into the bone and the cartilage and trying to create this. But I'm like, hey, we are doing this non-invasively. We're not puncturing the skin. We've really, the research has shown that we're activating the pathway toll-like receptor 3, which basically turns the inflammation spigot off. And inflammation, as you know, Mark, is really the silent killer in all diseases. So, you know, for 50 years, the pharmacology has been, this is the holy grail. They want to find a drug that activates this. And we found a tool that naturally turns that on. And, you know, as chiropractors, we're always working with the best doctor, that innate healing ability, the doctor within us. And this, I mean, it pairs so well with chiropractic because we just let the body heal itself. So, you know, as you know, for 12 years, I had a large diabetic and neuropathy clinic here in Atlanta. I'm past president of the Neuropathy Treatment Centers of America. And so we did 900 new patients a year. And then COVID came, right? And my average patient is 70, 71 years old. They didn't want to go anywhere. So my clinic, I mean, it was basically closed down for 7 weeks as we tried to navigate this new normal. But I still had a 5,800 square foot building. I still had 17 staff members. And I'll tell you what, with this marketing team that I hooked up with, I really, I started a new clinic from scratch using this device and, you know, social media and marketing. We were able to kind of rebirth a new clinic. And so we started what we called an alternative pain clinic. And, you know, people out there, they're sick and tired of taking drugs and narcotics and opioids. I mean, we can't forget, even with this pandemic, that we have a national epidemic that's still going on. And 1,000 people per week are dying from prescription drug overdoses.
Unbelievable.
You know, so it's like, I'm on a mission to really change the way people in chronic pain are living and give them options, right? 70% of all hydrocodone produced in the world is consumed by the United States. 90% of OxyContin is produced produced in the world, is consumed by the United States, although we're only 4% of the world population. I mean, there's something there that's not right. I mean, there's only 2 countries in the world that allow pharmaceutical ads to be on the TV. One is New Zealand, and the other one is the United States, both of which have the highest healthcare costs in the world. This device is non-invasive. The FDA deems it as a non-significant risk factor, an NSR. So there's minimal type of damage that can be done. And it's very user-friendly, right? If you put it over normal tissue, no pain. As soon as you get to the bad area, you're like, oh, right there. So to get back to my story, you know, April, we maybe saw 12 new patients. I was only working 2 days a week. May, we saw about 30 new patients. I was working 3 days a week. June, I was like, I'm going to turn this marketing up a little bit. By June 7th, I had 15 of my 17 employees back. By July, I think we did 121 new patients. And in August, we did 125. I mean, so it's like, look, we took a tough situation where we didn't know where our next new patient was coming from, or even if I could keep my clinic open, and we turned it into a win. It paired with this device.
I love it. Wow. amazing. So I want to throw something on there. The cool thing is I've actually used the device.
Yes, that's
So,
right.
yeah.
You know firsthand.
Yeah. So, I mean, I used it it had to be about 2 months ago, easily.
Yeah.
And I remember my back was, I work a lot on the computer, and I had an old injury, slip disc. So my back's just, it's intertwined. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does, you know how it is. And so all of a sudden I just started having this pain coming back again. And then one of the docs that you sold it to, he said, hey, you got to try the stem cell machine out. So they put it on there. And at first I was like, okay, I don't feel anything. Then all of a sudden I was like, wait, I'm feeling it. He goes, well, what you're feeling, because if you feel a little bit of pain from it, I notice is that's where it's targeting the pain. So I was like, okay, I'm liking this. And then all of a sudden when he was done, within 15 minutes, pain was gone. I still don't even have the pain. Like,
isn't that
literally,
amazing? That's one session 2 months ago. And I mean, like,
that was 2 months ago.
We built an introductory special across the country on a $49 introductory pricing, right? So we want to make this affordable. You know, stem cells and regenerative medicine is the future of healthcare. There's no doubt. But right now, it's the future for millionaires and professional athletes.
A lot of people can't afford it, you know.
No,
I mean,
they can't afford it. And again, it's a crapshoot. We don't know. There's so much out there. It's probably 50-50 that you're going to get great results and maybe you're not. So who's got $5,000 to $7,000 to throw on the craps, right? And that's what it is. This, on a cellular level, this is true cellular regenerative medicine. It's working on the mitochondrial. It's a stem cell attractant. It's calling for other helper cells to come to this injured area. It almost tricks the body into thinking there's a new injury. So that's why you'll see people who haven't had good movement in their hands for 16, 18, 20 years because of an old injury. All of a sudden we get in there and it's like, whoa, why can I'm moving my hand again? And we've got 2 or 3 of those cases, both in strokes and a young lady in Pocatello, Idaho, who stabbed her hand when she was 16. And she lost the ability to pose her thumb. And now, you know, she's 34 years old. She has 4 children, and they're young kids that are always trying to grab her hands to walk across the street. She's always in pain. She can't open jars. We did 1 treatment on her. And she was just like, what? You know, surgeons wouldn't go back in because there was so much scar tissue. I mean, I'm so excited about this. I mean, we've got it in orthopedists, osteopaths, chiropractors, physical therapists, acupuncturists. It's catching on because people are seeing that it helps accelerate the natural healing process. There's no drugs needed. There's no puncturing of the skin. This will become the norm. Before people have cortisone injections, before they go for stem cells, you know, in the algorithm of healthcare, you start with the less expensive, less invasive. You exhaust all of your natural alternative options, and then you start going for higher level stuff. And the research is really clear, especially for musculoskeletal. This is a 65 to 91% success rate. I mean, and this is clinical studies. So, I mean, we're not going to get them back to like they're 28, but we are going to help them, you know, maximize their function and their ability to use those areas that have not been working properly.
I think it's amazing. And just right after this, everyone, just to let you know, we'll have video testimonials you'll be seeing. But what I just got a text from somebody, and the text was, you know, how can doctors start to get this in their clinic? Would they need to call them? Do they just go to altpaininstitute.com, or do they?
They can email me at drdiduro@gmail.com. We can put my cell phone. They can text me. Text is the best way, but I have a wonderful sales team that'll send them the educational material, show them. Check with your state. There's a couple states out there that won't allow this for chiropractors. Washington is one of them, and Kentucky right now. Michigan, I'm not sure. They're kind of tough as well. But we look at everything, and we want, you know, the more people we get involved with this, the more people we can help. And I honestly believe, Mark, that the This device paired with chiropractic is going to elevate our profession to levels we haven't seen in 125 years. I'll risk the last 26 years of my chiropractic relationship with my communities and my reputation. And I'll tell you that because, the people who are most concerned about this are pain management doctors who do interventional and orthopedists, right? Because they do a lot of joint replacement. They do a lot of, arthroscopic surgery on the knee, even before arthroscopic. There's a great story about Dr. Isaac Jones, who's unbelievable. He's a Health Expert Alliance. He's built a beautiful virtual training program. He's based here in Atlanta. He was playing hoops at our local church here last year, and he blew out his ACL, grade 3 tear. And he travels all over the world. He's in Japan, and he's like, it just was a bad time to tear his ACL.
Right.
I sent him a note. He comes in, 6 sessions over 5 weeks. The guy's back playing hoops, unbelievable. He has some instability, but it gave him 14 months to kind of find the right surgeon, do what he needed to do, and then get it taken care of. This buys you time, and it really is, it offers hope. It offers hope to patients that have kind of lost that.
I think it's great though, so you don't have to worry about, I'm just saying some people do need to get surgery.
Oh, absolutely.
People that are going into surgery and they don't need to. And that's why I'm thinking that, not even thinking, people don't want to get cut up, bottom line. I know I don't like pain, just like the next person. But when I first tried this, it was amazing. And I also saw, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that you shared a video with me that the Lakers, or was it?
Yeah, the LA Lakers. So it's catching on. There's 4 NBA teams that have it: the LA Lakers, New York Knicks, New York Nets, and Memphis Grizzlies. We're seeing it on the PGA Tour with Graham McDowell, who we hope he's going to win the Masters this year. Where he's like the Rocky Balboa of golf. They kind of forgot about him. He's still one of the top 50, but he's been working with us, and Dr. Matt Ord is his personal chiropractor, travels with him. And so he's loving it. He's pain-free for the first time in 18 years of professional golf. So, one of the reasons why we have the podcast, Free My Pain Now, is because this works so fast. And again, one session doesn't fix everything, but it gives people the relief, starts the healing process. The cool thing is research shows that you typically need 5 to 6 sessions total to get the maximum amount of stem cell production and then migration to that treated area. It could take 8 to 10 weeks before the stem cells have migrated there. And then research also shows 10 to 12 weeks that we actually have neovascularization. So this releases vascular endothelial growth factor, VEGF, which helps create nitric oxide to help vasodilate those arteries and small capillaries, allowing oxygen-rich blood to get into that area that's been starved. And I've made it simple for my docs and patients. Like, wherever you have pain, you have poor circulation and inflammation. And why does this help get rid of pain so quick? Because it helps increase blood flow and downregulate or decrease inflammation. So that's it. And the other thing that I just, really learned working with Dr. Joel Baumgartner, who's an unbelievable orthopedic regenerative medicine doc out of St. Cloud, Minnesota. I was just up at his place 2 weeks ago, and what a spectacular clinic he's got. And so we're working, and he's like, Matt, you know what this does? And this is Dr. Keith Smeagol, who's also brought me up there. And Keith is really the one that said it. He goes, this is creating tensegrity. And I'm like, what? I'm a little dyslexic. And I'm like, what is tensegrity? He goes, that's where it tightens up laxity in the ligaments. And it almost happens immediately. And this is the same thing they do with prolotherapy. I didn't realize this, but when they're doing the injections along the ligaments, they're actually creating some trauma, and then it's kind of tightening everything up. So, why does decompression work on lumbar patients? Because you're decompressing that area, giving the disc time to heal. What this does around bad, high ankle sprains, low back, whiplash, any type of the strains like that on those ligaments, is it's tightening it up. It gives it support and allows the healing to happen. So that's kind of like, and we're learning every week, every month, we're learning how this device, you know, helps with other conditions. It's not the panacea for everything, but it pairs so well with PRP or decompression. You know, I've made the statement before that and chiropractors are going to have to get on the boat pretty soon here, but it's going to be 10 times bigger than what decompression did for chiropractic.
Wow.
And why? Is because decompression, you can do cervical and lumbar. This device, you can do wrists, hands, thumb, elbows, knees, hips, low back. You know what I mean? It's like for 30 years, from being a student to now in the chiropractic profession, I've always heard, oh, we're hitting 8-9% of utilization for the population. And I've always heard, hey, we get to that 17% tipping point and the floodgates are open. Chiropractors are we're gonna need double the amount of chiropractors. Dude, it's not happening. There's only 10% of the population that utilizes this. This device paired with chiropractic will allow 100% of your community in pain to find you. So you see what I'm saying? This is gonna be big. And you know, some people don't. I have a good vision. I'm good at spotting talent. I have a great team around me. I've got great doctors that work with me. But I also like certain things. Like I bought AOL back in 1996. Like people say, why do you still have an AOL account? I said, because I made so much money on it. You know what I mean? And it's like I bought Qualcomm when nobody knew what it was. It was a little chip in my phone. I said to my investor, I said, what is this Qualcomm thing? He's like, it's this little chip. I'm like, let's buy that. Boom. I've been good at picking stocks. I bought Tesla 6 years ago. You know, it's like, it's kind of like the Amazon for healthcare, I believe. This is going to be so big. And again, thank you for getting it out to your listeners. And I really appreciate it. It's been mostly organic now, but people like you.
That's the best way sometimes, though.
Yeah, it's catching that traction. But people like you and sharing this with your doctors, and hey, I'm on a mission to change the way healthcare is, and I want to make it more affordable. You know, I'm looking for the right people. I need an army of chiropractors, you know, that are willing to work in their community and really tackle this epidemic head on. Give people options other than, you know, joint replacements, surgery. You know, 30% of all joint replacements are failures because the pain is actually coming from the nerves surrounding that area and innervating that joint. So, you know, they don't have a way of checking it. When they take an x-ray, they go, oh, it's bone on bone. You know, that is a two-dimensional film. We're a three-dimensional person. Human being. So you can't take a three-dimensional person and put it on an x-ray. And I always tell there's x-ray distortion. So bone on bone, I love it. Bring them in because they're really not bone on bone most of the time. It's a marketing ploy that orthopedics can use to scare you to get you to do the surgery. Yep. But what I tell my patients and my doctors is before you go for that surgery, at least try this out. Reduce the inflammation in that area, and you're probably going to have better outcomes. So we can use this after surgery. I can't tell you dozens and dozens of patients who've had failed joint replacements, who are in pain, can't handle it. And this gets in there and helps reduce that inflammation and swelling. So, you know, again, stem cells you can inject into a joint replacement. So, yeah, man, you can tell I'm fired up.
No, I love this. And this is why you're flying. Hey, that's why they're flying you everywhere around the world. And, you know, doctors I'm seeing your page. I love your page. Everyone, please take a look at Dr. Matt's page. You can also
DiDuro on Facebook, yes. Or on Instagram, we do have a page called The Stem Cell Machine.
Love that. I love it because we're seeing not just people that are being healed. We're also seeing doctors using it for the first time, which I like. Yeah. That right there. I love watching their face, that little light pop on. Now, doctors, everyone out there, here's the thing. I want you to give Dr. Matt a call. I want you to take a look at the videos. You know, it's seeing is believing. You know, this is becoming I call it the new thing. Remember In-N-Out Burger? This is kind of like a burger. I hate to say it really is. I mean, everyone's different with their pain level. I mean, I had a whole bunch of pain in my back. It was numb, bothering the hell out of me. Guys, I haven't had any pain in 2 months. I'm not lying. And I still got to keep my coffee. So, but with that being said, I just want to say thank you so much, Dr. Matt, for being here on the show. We will be having you on again because I love what you do and you're all about helping people. And remember, everyone, kindness is my greatest gift, is also my greatest weakness. Got to use it, Dr. Matt. Thank you so much for being on the show. And what's one thing you'd like to leave with the doctors before we leave?
You know, it's gonna take a few like-minded doctors to really make a difference. And, you know, again, I saw this work on some of my sickest patients, the patients who had chemo-induced peripheral neuropathy. The pain was so bad. It's the number one reason why people have to stop cancer treatment. We have a great story of how, you know, we use this in combination. My wife's a stage 3 breast cancer survivor, so it's dear to my heart. Anybody that is suffering from that, this paired with some of the polychromatic lights that we use in our clinics has been such a game changer. And it's really, and if we can take like the toughest thing, the number one reason why people have to stop cancer treatment and make it something that they're able to finish, you know, it's dear to my heart. So let's get together, right? Chiropractors have always circled the wagons and shot within, and we're really competitive. And I want us to work together as a team and become creative and bring this to the next level. And our profession has waited 125 years for this, and I believe this will bring us into prime time in healthcare. So God bless you, my man. Thank you so much for what
Thank you so much. And one more thing, chiropractors, you know who you are. I've noticed there's about 50 to 60% of chiropractors that are not utilizing tools like this. They're doing the old school, crack them, slap them against the wall, just joking. But they're not using any awesome techniques that can help get people out of pain now, or feeling 50% better, 75% better. Me, I'm a little bit different. Everyone's different, their pain level. I went in, bada bing, had numbness, had pain, had sharp pain, wouldn't stop. Within 20 minutes, pain's been gone. It's been 2 months. I feel like Rocky Balboa. Anyways, thank you so much, everyone. Dr. Matt, you're awesome. And God bless you all.
Thank you.
Great job.